That's helped me have no human ways, no thoughts of self, no faults to see, only the ways of space. Now I know my heart is fast, in my Father's path at last, only the ways of space, only the ways of space. The song Tian-Do gave us, among other things they gave us. Another little mantra was, with strong intent and powerful feeling, this vehicle receives a perfect healing. Or maybe they had to say, this body receives a perfect healing. Well, I think they might have called it a body in that case. I don't know. I wanted to start just talking about Tian-Do from my memory, because since the tapes aren't being provided, I'm going to do what I can to try to bring everything to memory. And if you have any questions, anybody has any questions, please email me or send me a comment, or comment actually on this video would be a good place for it, so that I can pull more things out of my memory, okay? So, but I wanted to address the thing of I could be wrong, and giving your will to the next level through their representatives that they send us. And I know it's I know there's word out there. Of course, there's pretty much everything under the sun out there talked about Do. I mean, for a little while, that he saying that it's after T left that the idea of suicide came in, and that Do kind of went a little crazy, haywire, with allowing or instigating the castrations because of his own sexual hang-ups or weaknesses, or the fact that he was gay before he met T, although he was removed from all sexuality for months before he met T, because he was fed up with it. And yes, he was frustrated by it, and not finding relationships to go with it, which is what he wanted more, I think. And what he said to me, us, he didn't talk personally with me about that, but so I was bringing this up in light of conversation about Mercody and Serafody and their departure from the group. They were asked to leave, actually, by Do, and told by each student before they left, which there were between 24 and, well, probably about 27. No, might have been closer to 28 or 29 students by then, I believe. And were told by each student, by Do's instruction, after we had a whole bunch of what we called help wanted meetings, they would have us, if a student was having a problem that they wanted help with, extra help, they could call a help wanted meeting, and their classmates would sit with them and try to help them, and it would be reported. We'd have someone writing it all down, and then that report was sent to Do. And when we had started those, I think when T was still in her physical vehicle, the one that she took, and then they would come back to us on things, or they would, talk to the person personally, whatever, they chose to do in that regard. But if a help wanted meeting wasn't called by the person that wanted to help, then the group could call a help wanted meeting. So I guess I didn't realize that's what, in a sense, I'm doing, but I'm going to bring up the format for the believers. And this is right along the lines of what Jesus taught. And Jesus taught that if your brother has something, you have something against your brother, sister, same word, which it meant your soul brother, so to speak, and it wasn't the flesh brother, because Jesus wasn't concerned with the flesh brothers and sisters. He was only concerned with the soul brothers and sisters. That was his family, and he said that about his mother, saying that it's not my mother. My mother is my brother, sister, my mother. My family is those who believe in the Father, and that I came from the Father. And Jesus speaking, not me, of course. See, you can take that, you can take a snippet of that and put it somewhere, and you can say that he said he came from the Father. Well, actually, we all came from the Father, so I guess it would still be accurate. But so they were asked to leave because of the lesson, I Could Be Wrong. The lesson was titled, I Could Be Wrong. And that was introduced by Tiendo, I believe, but I remember it best getting the exact time it was introduced. I can't say for sure whether T was in her vehicle at the time. I'll try to remember that. But, and that would be on those tapes if anybody listens to the ones that are available. I'd like to know, I'd like to be corrected on that score, but just so I have things in order in my head, because it helps with memory of other things. And and the lesson was basically to get us out of ourselves. It's funny that the word I in the Greek is ego, ego. And that's what we have to get rid of, and that's what the Buddhists say we have to get rid of, and I believe the Hindus say we have to get rid of, and probably the Jews. I can't relate it to exactly Moses right now because I'm not thinking about that, but I'm sure there's a reflection of Moses in it. Well, there is when instructions are given, and you follow those instructions without question. I mean, you may question it in your mind, you may wonder why, and things like that. But if you are willing to do it, regardless of knowing the reason why, because you believe in the teacher, then you're learning to put your will in their hands. So Moses evidences lots of that. And because that's a big thing to give. Maybe it's the biggest thing. I suspect it is. But that you can give is your will to somebody else. That's totally trust. And that's what believe is not just a one word, believe, it's like connected. It's like believe, faith is the same word. Believe, faith, trust is an extension of that. Believe, faith, trust, commitment. It's like one motion of graduation of stages in the lesson plan. And that's why to believe at first is a big step, because everybody around you isn't believing. So it's you don't have much of a support in that regard, and it's easy to have doubts. But once you believe, it's awful hard to throw it away unless you decide to. By ignoring it in your head when every time it comes up, every time a thought related to your belief comes up, you throw it out of your head and you tell it to get out of here, whatever, or you try to put your mind on something else and you ignore it. That's a way of getting rid of it. And by that method, basically you filter out the next level out of your life and out of your mind, out of your consciousness. And the opposite is true, that the more you pay attention to the next level and the next level things, the more you pull in that mind from the next level and build your mind and then build your belief into faith, into trust, into commitment. I don't know if they got the right order there on trust and faith may be the same thing. But commitment, I think, is more than trust and faith, because that's like saying that it's not just me that's going to go along with you. I am going to promote you to others, and that was, I believe, called a disciple, yes, but was a assigned task in Jesus' day as an apostle, someone that was going to actually, go out and put the word public, which is a task, it's an assignment, and so that's basically the angels blowing the trumpet. Now, basically, that's exactly what it is. And the older members start the trumpet blowing by themselves, but with a witness. John the Baptist was Jesus' witness. Doe was T's witness. I would say that would be the order of it. Because T got the ball going. T is the one that brought Doe to her before she even knew what it was all about. She knew that they had something to do together. And Doe at first was like, is she hitting on me? He wondered about that. I think he said. I believe he said. And but he anyway, I don't want to get into that because there's not really much more to say on that I have. But so anyway, so I could be wrong was representative of starting the thinking more of not trusting ourselves. And I can hear the influences, the Satans, the adversaries, to this information saying, oh, not trusting yourself, look at that, brainwashed. Yes, absolutely brainwashed. But it's choosing to be brainwashed. And that's what the same thing that a lot of people do. They choose what to wash their brain with. They choose what to fill their brain with. And when it's actually brainwashing, you're getting rid of the old. You're not just taking on more that looks new. And to get rid of the old, the most effectively way to do that is to cold turkey. And to basically not be associated with anyone or anything that you were associated with in the past. And that's walking out the door of your life. That is the rapture, because even though you can do that without the older member there, when the older member comes, they, in a sense, do it for you. Because they do it on the strength of their mind that's present with you. Now, the strength of that mind that's present, I don't know for how long it lasts. I would doubt that it lasts in the same potency as when they're here. That's why I think in the world we see things going backwards. We see rights being taken away. We see more headway being made on taking choices away from people. And being more overlording and against the people, against the unions, against the what they call entitlement plans, even though the people pay into those plans, into Social Security. That's entitlement. You're entitled to it, like it's a gift. When it's not a gift, the employee puts in 50%, and the employer who's getting a benefit from the employee financially is putting in 50%. So nobody is, it's not a handout. So, but that's one example of many examples. That's being, see, the mind withdrew when they left. And I believe they're back now. They were left for a little while, but they're back now. But they're back in specific ways, more focused ways, on looking for specific individuals that are ready to take the next step for them, which is belief in Tian-Do. That's the only way you can go besides the human kingdom. And the human kingdom includes all the space aliens, because they're also human equivalents. And that's been proven by the space aliens' words. The Pleiadians said that, the Arcturans, I believe, said that, that they have families, and the next level is not families. There's no little ones running around. Because new births into their kingdom come as adults from the human kingdom. So, so in any case, I could be wrong. The instruction was to put it, to preface things that you said with that, and especially decisions. So you would say, if you were like trying to remember a procedure, like let's say in the Nutrilab, the procedure was to measure things like a tablespoon of flour for a sauce. Okay, so you would measure it precisely, and there was a procedure on how to measure flour, which is an excellent procedure. You know, to sift it first, and then to scoop it in. You know, instead of packing it down, and then so you get a consistent measure all the time. And the way you run your blade across the T and Do were very detailed about things, and T was mostly in charge of the Nutrilab in terms of the technical quality. I mean, she was there all the time. Where Do wasn't, he was doing other things. He had plenty to do. And like T said to me, when I was in the East Lab where we made bread for the group, and there was about 40-something of us then. So it was a sizable bread making operation, you know, and we made cinnamon rolls, and we made biscuits sometimes for some meals, and we kneaded the bread by hand for a while, and then we did it with machines also. But T said to me I think more than once, said that be gentle with the loaf, with the bread, with the dough. And, you know, don't treat it like you're manhandling it. I guess I've always been kind of a bull in a china shop, and a little gruff, and the way I would walk and things like that. So so that was one of my lessons on controlling my vehicle. So then I had to think more about. So T gave me the opportunity to think more about what I was doing, because that was the instruction in the whole classroom, is to be aware of everything you do. Even moving your hand, you know, moving your fingers, you know, moving your feet when you walk, thinking about that you're doing it, not just thinking about something else while you're walking. Doesn't mean that you couldn't think about something else while you were taking a walk, for instance, because we did take walks outside. And they were brisk walks, and we kept our arms, you know, waving a lot. As much exercise as you can get within a walk, because they didn't, you know, for whatever reason, that was the instruction. And you can think of all kinds of good reasons why they were giving us the best thing for our vehicles. So I mean, people, of course, it was hard to understand where to put that. I could be wrong all the time. And so people would say, I could be wrong, but I think I have to use the restroom. We call the bath chamber. Let's say they said that to the partner. I could be wrong, but well, you know that you need to use the bath chamber for using, you know, the commode, for I don't remember what we called. If we actually called, we called eliminating bodily waste or fluids. Tiendo didn't take to any slang that I'm aware of, and we had to get rid of all our slang because that also made us aware of everything we were saying. That's having your mind more in control, and when you're doing it for Tiendo, that's having their mind more in your vehicle's control through you. That's exactly what Jesus meant. And he said that when he said in the future, when he came back, you would understand what he meant by the Father being in him. So Mercodi and Serafodi, well, Mercodi in particular actually had problems with using that expression. I guess because he didn't think he was wrong about certain things, so he didn't want to say it. And what I was trying to say before is that, I mean, if you said to your partner, "This is a good time to use the bath chamber," a lot of times we did things like that with our partners. We communicated with them by asking them a question if it was a good time for it, because they were also training us to not assume anything. Not assume. They didn't assume things. That's why we had to keep on telling them that we wanted more of their mind, and that we wanted next steps, and that we appreciated their bringing things up to us, and that we wanted to implement the things that they gave to us and to help us grow faster. They encouraged us to ask to grow faster, and sometimes they came to us in a meeting and they said, "We're not getting anything new.